The Glease Gallery had style and class, but very few customers. I couldn't believe it. The pots were marked at 5,000 francs each. As far as I could tell, the pots were almost identical to the one I'd found in Ubier's house. The girls were in a world of their own. Hi, girls. What's the joke?
あなたはキレてですね。
Okay, fine. The girls were in a world of their own. Looked like a witch and a headless bust. I had seen better. Looked like a witch and a headless bust. I had seen better. He was a pear-shaped guy with a fine display of multiple chins. Are you Mr. Glease, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes, very rapuche.
Rapouche?
Hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You smashed my pot.
Certainly, it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glease can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
That pot you smashed belonged to Professor Ubier.
Did it really? I thought the man had more taste.
What's the difference between my pot and all those other pots?
Yours is broken.
Why, you smug, pompous sloth.
Sticks and stones, dear boy, sticks and stones.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. A valuable relic of an ancient civilization lay smashed on the floor. The pot had smashed into too many pieces to retrieve. I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. Well, what do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Glease's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
He was a pear-shaped guy with a fine display of multiple chins. Pots, pots, and more pots, all hugely expensive. He looked like an older version of Labano. The same supercilious expression, the same disdain in his eyes, and the same damned ponytail. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think, sir, we'll find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. Well, in that case, you'll excuse me.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Oubier himself.
I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Oubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Do you believe the story that Oubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Oubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. It was a machine for reading credit cards. It was a sturdy packing case.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
I'd had enough of talking to that slob. Rectangles in a desolate landscape, highly cubist. It was Glease, the owner of the gallery. There was nothing else I wanted to ask the man. I had no possible use for a credit card reader. If I wanted to be laughed at, there was always Nico. I'd had enough of talking to that slob. Allow me. It was a sturdy packing case. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing. But pasted on the side was the remains of a label. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train. It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. A chain-link fence barred the entrance to the docks. There was a glow of light at the window of the hut.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, he's a trained attack dog. A killer.
It was a mean-looking guard dog. Here, boy. was a box of blank forms. The box contained nothing but blank forms.
Hi there.
Hey! How long you been watching me?
Well, I wasn't watching.
You were looking.
Oh, well, yeah, but I wasn't watching.
What'd you want? Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
Take a look at this letter.
That's sick. Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice. Have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, pal, what is it?
A poison dart used for hunting.
What would you hunt with that? Mice?
No, monkeys and stuff. The tip is dipped in poison.
Hey, what you got against monkeys?
I love monkeys. I was just using them as an example.
Well, don't.
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you? You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. Have you ever heard of Professor Oubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her. The docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah, struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
Like the one you showed me?
The very same. I could tell he didn't believe me. Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure. They have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I have to make a delivery to Condor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
Nah, it was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. Do you know what kind of business Condor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say. What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
Does number 20 have rabies?
Nah, just a bad attitude. Like I said, he's a trained attack dog. They took him when he was a puppy and messed with his head to make him the way he is.
What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the floor. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of the national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
The chimney was a metal pipe with a conical hat on top to stop the rain getting in.
Ouch! That's hot.
The panties would not have been thick enough to shield this level of heat. Bobbing up and down in the oily water was the watchman's discarded beer bottle. The guard dog was staring at me with a hungry look in his eyes.
Hey, 20.
The opening in the floor led up into the watchman's hut. A short stick of wood floated near the edge of the landing stage. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook for hooking boats. It was a short wooden-handled boat hook. A shabby old overcoat hung from a peg near the door. It was a large bucket filled with coal. It was a packet with a picture of a boxer dog on the front.
Excuse me.
Huh? Who's there?
I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, "Surge, the beer that clears your head." The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it. Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. It was the metal cone I'd taken from the chimney of the watchman's hut. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke. Someone had once told me a piece of coal brought you luck. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition? I wouldn't have considered wearing it if it had been the last coat on Earth. The packet was full of dog biscuits. Baked beans in ketchup. It was the box of biscuits I'd taken from the watchman's hut. Gourmet dog, the snack your dog would bake himself. Sure, as if I'd let a stupid dog loose in the kitchen. There was a cute picture of a boxer dog wearing oven mittens. It was my lucky piece of coal. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a dog.